Hey y'all, Uncle Jimmy here. When you speak for yourself, you're forced to think for yourself. And when you think for yourself, the sports world looks different. In order to enjoy this podcast and this show, you need to have the courage to look at the world from alternative points of view and not be offended when you disagree. Speak for yourself isn't your Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram feed. SFY tells you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. So, welcome aboard, buckle up, and enjoy the ride.
Welcome to Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai. I'm Rick Bucher. He's Jim Jackson. Whitlock and Wiley are off today. Coming up, we'll tell you who looks worse in the Spike Lee-Knicks feud. But right now, we're joined by Fox NFL analyst LeVar Arrington, former NFL cornerback Stanford Route. So let's start in the NFL, where the speculation about Tom Brady's future is getting a lot more interesting. According to Patriots insider Tom Curran, the rumors of a Brady for Garoppolo trade might not be as crazy as they sound, with Curran explaining that the 49ers are a real option for Brady and that there's appeal for both sides in a deal that would send Brady to play for his hometown team. 49ers superstar tight end George Kittle jumped into the fray earlier today, defending Jimmy G with an Instagram post saying, "Let's run it back, 10. LeVar, would replacing Jimmy G with Brady make the 49ers better?"
I think Kittle just gave you the answer very, very clearly right there. Let's run it back, right. Jimmy G. I don't think that he makes this a healthier team. I really don't. I think that it's a real poor decision to make the bet that you could bring in Tom Brady after this guy was the quarterback that led you on a Super Bowl run. You could have every excuse, every reason why Jimmy G was not the guy for the Niners this year. He missed a couple throws. They could win the Super Bowl. He's not controlling the ball the right way. He's loose with it, as Whit would say. Thou loose him with the ball. But nonetheless.
All true. Those are all true things.
Yeah, you know what else is true? They won. They went to the playoffs. They won in the playoffs. They went to the Super Bowl. And with 7 minutes, just under 8 minutes left in that Super Bowl game, they had a double-digit lead on who would end up being the Super Bowl champs. I don't put that on a quarterback. I put that on coaching. The coaches should have had a better chance, a better strategy of slowing down the Kansas City Chiefs offense, which means that Jimmy G would have been on the sideline when the game was being won and lost during the course of that Super Bowl game. I don't think it's a great decision, and I think you put Jimmy Garoppolo in a losing situation to have to replace Tom Brady going to New England, and you put Tom Brady, actually the GOAT, in a losing situation by going to the Niners.
What you just said about the final 7 minutes of the Super Bowl, how San Francisco had that lead and then blew it, that's why I think that Tom Brady actually would make the San Francisco 49ers better, simply because when you look at it from the macro, letting go of a young, entering his prime quarterback for an aging, will be 43 in August, Tom Brady, that defies all logic. But I think this is an unusual situation because we see throughout the year, the 49ers, they leaned on the run game. They leaned on that smoldering defense. And everybody, a lot of people thought that Jimmy G was considered the weakest link of that team. So this team right here is a quarterback away from probably being Super Bowl champions. We see the overthrow to Emmanuel Sanders late in the game. And if that throw is completed, we're looking right now at Jimmy G being Super Bowl MVP rather than Pat Mahomes. So you look at Tom Brady being from the Bay Area, growing up a 49ers fan, and actually seeing that this team is built to win now. They're over there running the bells and whistles on offense, all the shifts and all the motions. We can see Kyle Shanahan, he's doing his best to hide Jimmy G. Let's go ahead and call it what it is. I'm not saying Jimmy G's a scrub, but I'm simply saying that I think that Tom Brady would make this team better for right now. Like I said, you go ahead, get rid of your young guy for this older, aging veteran who's got maybe 2 years at most left. Yes, that's going to defy all logic, but I think in this situation, this team is built to win right now. I think it would make the 49ers better right now.
And if you take it a step further, that Tom Brady in the short term provides, one, the playmaking, decision-making in late-game situation, but also coming into a situation, okay, you have ties who are built into, like we saw this picture right here with Kittle hugging. But that's a relationship. But when Tom comes in and they get a chance to understand who Tom is in the short term, his work ethic, the knowledge upstairs, that breathes different life into that offense in the short term. Because that's what we're talking about. Because Father Time is undefeated. At one point, his skills are going to diminish. So if you have a chance to win it now, does it make him better short term? Yes. What's the long-term play for John Lynch in San Francisco? It's to be perennial playoff contenders competing for a championship. And if this can get you something now, again, obviously, if they make this trade, if they make this happen, they don't have the belief in Jimmy G.
100%. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, and to me, and I don't want to interrupt you, Rick. To me, where the biggest caveat of all of this is you can see the way they structured Jimmy G's contract. They created an escape hatch where they can go ahead and get out of this thing with minimal penalty. So that shows you right there exactly how much belief they had in Jimmy G when they signed him to the contract, and even so far this past season.
I believe 100% that the fact that they're even entertaining this, and they're at the very least entertaining this, says what they think about Jimmy G and his ability to get them there. You presented this narrative that Jimmy G is this young up, and you're not alone. Most people look at it this way, including in the Bay Area. Jimmy G is this young up-and-coming quarterback who led the 49ers to a Super Bowl. And you're going to trade him for this old Tom Brady, this old quarterback who couldn't even get past the Titans in the wild card game at home. But here's the reality. If you look at their regular season numbers, they're very comparable. And that thing about being loose with the ball, look, Garoppolo threw a lot less and threw a lot more interceptions. Fumbled the ball 5 times, lost 5 fumbles. Tom only did it once. And if you're asking me in those moments that made the difference, not the comeback by the Chiefs, but where the 49ers had a chance to put it out of reach, that was the opportunity that Jimmy had, and Jimmy didn't take advantage of, and I dare say Tom would have.
How long were you in the league for?
8 years.
How many times did you play in the Super Bowl?
None.
How far did you go into the playoffs?
Divisional round. Lost to the New England Patriots back in 2012.
Okay. How many times were you in the playoffs?
Once.
So that one time that you went to the playoffs, who was your quarterback?
It was Matt Schaub, Houston Texans.
Matt Schaub, the Houston Texans. And we had a good year that year, right? Mm-hmm. How many times you been in a championship game?
I can't wait to hear where this is going.
I've been to Western Conference Finals a couple times.
Here's
you know what this is? You know what this is?
No.
You know what this is? No. You know what this is? This is kill the messenger.
You know how many times I've been in the playoffs as an active player? Once.
Okay.
All right. I don't care what you say. It is hard to make it to the playoffs.
Sure.
Very true.
It is
very true.
It is darn hard to make it to the playoffs. It is even harder to make it to the Super Bowl. All right. So this idea of, well, we're automatically going to go back to the Super Bowl if we have Tom Brady, or this thing that Jimmy Garoppolo isn't as good as he should be as a quarterback, or throwing the ball, he's loose with the ball, or we can win the Super Bowl. Who's to say that once you replace Jimmy Garoppolo with Tom Brady or any other quarterback that you would think would be an upgrade to him, that quarterback is actually going to be good enough to play his part within the role of that team for them to not only have a successful regular season, but to have a successful playoff run and be up by double digits.
There are no guarantees.
7 minutes left in a game.
There are no guarantees.
To put that on a quarterback, I think, is very irresponsible.
But no, I get your point, because there's a huge study that shows that the team that loses the Super Bowl oftentimes doesn't even make it to the playoffs the next season.
Look at the Rams.
Obviously, we're sitting over here doing a lot of projecting. I get that. But for just the sake of this question, the sake of this discussion, in this situation right here for the 49ers, based on the way the contract was constructed, based on the way that you see there is always a shift or a motion or something like that to go ahead and try to fool us as the defense whenever you're going against the 49ers offense, that right there to me shows that Kyle Shanahan does not have an extensive belief in Jimmy G being the guy that can go ahead and just take the team on his back and over the hump.
Okay, let me ask you this. So Jimmy G, how many years has he started?
2?
This is
2 years?
How many?
This was his first full.
First full. Okay,
first full
name me in the NFL quarterbacks who have come in their first full year and won a Super Bowl.
I know.
First full year?
Yeah,
First full year starting?
Okay, so
know.
okay.
Tom Brady got there.
First full year
that wasn't his
starting?
first
full
That
year.
wasn't his
No,
first
well,
full.
he was there in 2000, 2001. He came in.
I don't
Drew
know.
Bledsoe got hurt, and
Right.
he took him the rest
Yeah,
of
but
the
that's what I'm
Okay.
saying. He's saying the first full year starting.
So here's what I'm saying. The broader point is now is that the impatience part about allowing a quarterback to grow into their position somewhat is not there. Because Pat Mahomes, young, he has an opportunity to win it at a young age, playing against another young quarterback. Okay? Now we want it to be, it's the same way in the NBA. We want things now. We don't want somebody to mature into who they can be. I know you're shaking your head. That's what you're doing over there. And we're trying to compare an experienced Tom Brady who's been through six Super Bowls to a young
Been through the fire.
Garoppolo and trying to say, well, this is the reason why. He's not going to compare to Tom Brady.
And you forgot to add, had his team up by
That's
two.
right. But he's not going to compare numbers wise. And sometimes in clutch situations, at his youth where he's at, he's not going to perform at the same as Tom Brady. He's just not.
All right. Speaking of you.
Okay.
Speaking of you.
Yeah.
Speaking of
To a guy some people say reminds them of Brady, Joe Burrow. The Heisman winner is expected to go #1 to the Bengals in April's draft, but he's not ready to accept the comparison to the GOAT, telling reporters, quote, "Please don't compare me to the best player of all time. Let me do my own thing." LeVar, do you like Burrow dismissing these Brady comparisons?
I absolutely love it. And, I can relate to it so well. When I was coming out of school, everybody's like, LT, LA, LT, LA, the next LT. And I'm like, bro, I just want to play. Like,
Right.
But that comparison had everybody thinking that every single play that I made had to be comparable to LT's highlight reel, not to LT's career or the games themselves. I had to make plays like LT.
Right out the gate.
His highlights, though.
Right.
So I got to be diving over people every single play. I got to be running somebody down and breaking their leg up every single play. So what's going to happen here is the more they start to connect someone like Tom Brady to Joe Burrow, he is being placed in a situation where he will have absolutely zero chance to live up to the expectation that is set on him, because highlights are highlights, games are games. And so to me, I think it's great, it's responsible. I think it's a mature approach for Joe Burrow to separate himself from that and saying acknowledgement of this is the GOAT. Like, don't compare me to the GOAT. Just give me the opportunity to come in and be the player that I am. I like that approach.
I love it. I'll double down on everything you're saying, LeVar. And to your point also, Jim, what you said about everybody focusing on now and letting the guy grow. And you can tell that Joe Burrow obviously is cognizant of that, because he knows that, guys, in the media, what do? We build guys up, also
break them down
and tear them down.
Build them back
and I love how Burrow is giving the Heisman to these comparisons, because he knows he's going to most likely go #1 to the Cincinnati Bengals. He hasn't come out and said that he's going to abstain from going to the Bengals if they draft him. So he knows he's going to be going very high in the draft. He knows that to be successful in this league, you're going to have a lot of players around you. You're going to have great coaching, great organization, things like that.
Everything that Jimmy G had last year and didn't quite get the job done.
Absolutely.
Everything that counts.
I don't mean to go back to
Everything that had
I thought it was worth
done.
mentioning. I just, you reminded me of a situation.
Yeah.
So with Joe Burrow, he knows all of this.
So
he is
wrong.
cognizant of all of this. And so he knows that if he goes out there to Cincinnati, comes out the gate 0-3, 1-4, everybody's gonna be screaming, he's a bust. He's no Tom Brady. He's this, that, and the other. So he's making sure to head us off at the path before he goes ahead and eats up some of those comparisons, because he knows that's what's going to be used against him if and when he falters playing for the Cincinnati Bengals in the 2020 season.
And the problem you get into when the comparisons come is not only just trying to live up to somebody's expectation, but I think what hurts you in the long run, and I'm going to use Kobe Bryant for an example. Kobe was never able to get out of the shadow of Michael Jordan because we've seen Michael Jordan before. So whatever Kobe did, it was like,
It's an imitation.
It's an imitation, okay? If Randy Moss was like, let's say, Jerry Rice, it's like he had great numbers, but we've seen it before with Jerry Rice. You can't get out of that shadow. But when you're an anomaly and you come in and you may have some characteristic traits of the great, but you and your own self or your own force, now you stand out a lot more. And to me, being compared is great, but it will hurt you in the long run if that's your mark. If you can't, Shaq was different because he was Shaq. Joe Montana was different because he was Joe Montana. You know, Troy Aikman was different because he had a different appeal to him. Emmett Smith, Barry Smith, so that's what made them special.
They're the first.
They're the first.
Blaze their own trail.
You know what I mean? And I think that for Joe Burrow is, okay, I can have some similarities maybe from a thinking man's perspective, from a leadership perspective, but I'm able to do A, B, C, and D a lot different, which separates myself from the GOAT.
Here's the thing with the Kobe comparison. Kobe at least was comparable in a lot of ways to Jordan.
Yeah, but
the mistake was
people stay out of that. I mean, they don't give him the love.
No. But the guy who really made the mistake was LeBron when they made the Michael Jordan comparison.
Well, yeah.
Because
Not even
he had the opportunity to create his own lane,
Right.
and he didn't.
Right.
He embraced them. And so as a result, he was always compared on that
and he
level.
wore the number,
and he wasn't
too.
appreciated.
He wore
Exactly.
he
All of
donned
that.
the number. I just think that some people live to perpetuate different things. And I think LeBron really wanted to perpetuate being compared to Michael Jordan. Some people can handle that.
Well,
and
and
some
they-
people can
calling
handle that
himself the
weight on
chosen
their
one.
shoulders.
Right.
You know, King James, you can handle that on your shoulders. You're King James. But I'm looking at Joe Burrow, and I'm saying to myself, if you're not going to a situation where you could actually live up to some of the expectations that are put onto you as a number one draft pick to begin with, then I'm being compared to the greatest of all time. But I'm starting right now.
Sure.
Tom didn't even start right now, but he's starting right now. Tom wasn't even a number one. I was number two in Tom's draft, right? I'm on a private jet while Tom is sitting somewhere fishing, waiting to be drafted, right? So he did not come in with the expectations of being Joe Montana, right? So to me, when I look at Tom Brady being compared to Joe Burrow and Joe Burrow being in that situation, he's going to be compared to him whether he denies it, doesn't want it, or not. The question and the key is something to what you're saying. Can he create a uniqueness about his game? Can he have enough success connected to his game? Can his public persona actually carry him in a way where it separates him from the comparisons that could be the downfall of what his career should be?
Only way Joe Burrow could have played this better is if he would have said, oh, so you're saying that I'm going to complete 1 of 3 passes for 6 yards as a rookie?
Interesting.
Because that
would be cool.
Because that's what Tom Brady did.
We would have came after him for saying that.
That one. I like where you went with that.
I would have liked that. All right.
That was nice.
Joined now by LA Times NBA writer Brad Turner. Time now for a big story sponsored by Kentucky Fried Chicken and Donuts. Get them with tenders for $5.49 or as a sandwich. Order at KFC.com. Let's move to the Lakers, who got a big win over the 76ers last night as Anthony Davis led the way with 37 points and 13 boards. After the game, LeBron was singing his teammates' praises and didn't shy away from taking credit for AD coming to LA in the first place.
That's everything I expected and more. And that's why I wanted him here. And when you get a generational talent like that and you have an opportunity to get him, just try to do whatever you can to try to get him. And, and I gave my opinion on, what I thought he could bring to this franchise. I gave my thoughts about the player, but not only the player, the person. And hopefully they took my advice to heart. And obviously, ultimately, they made the decision to, do what we did in the off season. But I mean, it's no surprise to me. I already knew how incredible the guy is. He had 50 in the All-Star game. 30s, 20s, 40s, and 20s he had when he was with the Pelicans, and just doing the things that he was doing. It was just like, at that size, there's not too many guys done that in this league.
All right, Jim. You like LeBron taking credit here?
I do. But it's more so than just...
Shocking.
Well, it more so than just this year. Let's go back. By him having Rich Paul as his agent, that starts the whole process. Anthony Davis leaves his agent, signs with Rich Paul. This process started a long time ago. So the credit is, one...
I'm not saying he doesn't deserve the credit.
Yeah, but it's not like he took all the credit and said, it was my decision to make, and this is what happened. Now, great players have influences on franchises. You know that. Some do and some don't. If they ask LeBron's opinion on what he thinks and he gives it to them, it carries weight, okay? This is LeBron. This is nothing different. It's nothing different than saying, okay, You wanted, Kevin Love to play a certain role. You wanted Kyrie to play a certain role. Chris Bosh decided to come after I made a decision to come down. What's the difference here?
So this is the way LeBron has always been.
Always.
That's what you're saying. Yep.
Always.
Okay.
Because his opinion matters in his view.
Brad knows where I'm going.
I know, but I know where you want to go with this.
No.
I know. Yes, you mean.
Brad,
yes,
where
you
do you want to go with it?
The key word he says, they got it done, which to me means he did not call David Griffin to say, hey, David, I'll give you Rick Bucher, I'll give you JJ for AD. The Lakers, Rob Pelinka, Kurt Rambis, they made the phone calls. They got the deal done. Also, let's not forget, the Lakers had talent to give them.
That's right.
Lonzo Ball,
So to be clear,
Brandon Ingram.
I just need to know where you are in this equation.
My answer is that no, he does not deserve
The credit.
all the credit.
So you have a problem. You have a problem with him taking credit.
He deserves credit.
Well, remember, part of his conversation says they, meaning the Lakers and the Pelicans, got it done. Not just me, but you're right to the point where, who does he sign with, AD? He goes to...
Yeah, clutch agency.
He changed agents.
No.
Did LeBron have a voice in this?
Yes.
He had a major voice in this, but did he make the phone calls to get it done? Because they could have traded him to Boston. He could have been traded to Milwaukee, right?
As Jim said, LeBron has always had a hand in these things.
No question.
Always. The problem that I have is that I just read about how LeBron James is different. I mean, literally 2 days ago on ESPN.com about how LeBron is approaching things in a completely different way. And in that story, LeBron says back in September about getting AD, I was just supportive of whatever moves they were making. He didn't take any responsibility or credit at that time. Now, did he have a part in it? Absolutely he had a part in it. But my problem is, I'm just, whatever they do, I'm good with it, I'm fine. And now AD has a huge game, and now AD looks like he's part of something that could win a championship. Well, you know what I told them? I told them that he'd be a great fit. And whatever they were going to do with that information, but I told them, this is the biggest problem I have. We would, as we all know, we would give LeBron credit for AD being here. He doesn't have to say it. If he had this same press conference and he said, you know what? I always admired him. I'm so glad that Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss were able to get this done. I'm so excited about playing with him. And we would have all said, yeah, well, let's not forget, he doesn't come here if LeBron James isn't here, if he's not part of clutch. We would have done it. But
Rick,
he always diminishes himself by wanting to say, look what I did.
Why are you surprised? And if you know that, so why are you overreacting? So why are you overreacting? If you know LeBron does this, what's the problem?
Because I was told that now he had changed.
What do you mean?
Now he had become a little more humble. Not even humble.
What we just saw? We saw the passive-aggressive LeBron James.
Exactly.
And that's who he has always been. And that's who he always will be.
And his opinion matters from this perspective. If he said, no, I don't want to play with AD, I don't care how many assets we got, what we can do, that would have had an impact as well.
See,
so it goes both ways. It goes both ways.
But you are accepting
who he is.
LeBron.
I'm accepting who he is, and I'm not trying to I'm not trying to make him anything else and expecting anything else. I don't care what it says in writing. I know who LeBron James is, okay? And I've accepted that. And he's done a heck of a job being LeBron James.
But
you can't argue with that.
Think back to the days when Kobe Bryant was upset, pissed off because the Lakers were not very good. He demanded to be traded or go out and get me another player.
Yes.
They went out and got
different GM.
They went out. Well, he wanted that too. The Lakers went out and got Pau Gasol.
Right.
The next thing you know, they had a 3 straight run to the NBA Finals, and they won 2 of them.
Right.
He spoke up about that.
Right.
I think the best players do that. It's just that LeBron does it more than we can imagine guys do. And what's wrong with it? It's okay.
This is the problem. First of all, because I believe that for all that LeBron has accomplished, much like we said, like if he had dismissed the Michael Jordan comparisons, then maybe we would have seen him in his own lane and we would have appreciated him more for what he's accomplished on his own. It goes the same with when he talks about, I don't load management, I play every night, and then he turns around and he takes a night off. You're like, you're telling me two different things, and you're too
man.
big
What
for
are you
this.
talking about?
You know what I'm saying?
That's
Rich.
what it said on the
Right,
memo
yes,
we got.
exactly. That's on the memo we got. LeBron should be above all this. I wish more for him because I believe he's capable of it. I know what he's done and I know what he's been, but it bothers me that he could be more, and he's not. And I thought just maybe, he'd gotten to a point now where he goes, you know what, I'm not going to do this battle. I'm just going to let other people shine, and I'll take what comes my way. And then we get to this point, and I go,
you know what?
Did it again.
Here's the
I
thing,
feel
though.
like Lucy and Charlie Brown in the football.
I believe when it comes out your mouth, it sounds good. But if LeBron goes the opposite and downplays something,
yes,
you'll find something wrong with that.
Oh, no,
yes, you will. You will find that LeBron now
First
he's being
LeVar
sarcastic.
killing the messenger. No, that's me.
Yeah,
so
no,
the problem's not LeBron.
No, it's
the
you.
problem
the problem
is
is you. Because here's the thing. We know who he is.
Yes.
That's not going to change. So why the narrative of when something happens? Oh, I'm surprised. No, that's who he is. And if you evaluate that on that playing level, all that frustration, you'll be just fine. It won't come to you.
So essentially, what you're saying is that I think more highly of LeBron than you do.
No.
Because I hope better for him.
No,
you're like,
you don't
I know
hope.
who he is.
See, that's sarcastic. That's sarcastic.
That's
you
okay,
don't hope
though.
better.
What?
That's sarcastic.
But don't forget, there was a key word.
Yes, you can't help but laughing. It's sarcastic. Yes,
Rick,
it is.
there was a key word in his statement.
Yeah.
They.
Yes.
Meaning not me, not my guy. They, the Lakers and the Pelicans, went out and got it done, and I'm glad that they did.
And Rich Paul.
You can't.
My man.
You can't stop at that word. Then there was more words
There was
that
a
came
lot
after
in that
where it
statement.
said I.
But we can't
right?
forget that
There
word
was an
either.
I. It wasn't just a they, there was an I. Brad Turner from the LA Times is back with us. Let's move to New York, where the Knicks are doing Knicks things this week, getting into a massive feud with their most recognizable and devoted fan, Spike Lee. It all started when Spike was stopped by security for using an employee entrance, then said he was done going to games this year. The team fired back, saying Spike was creating false controversy and showing a photo of him shaking hands with owner James Dolan. Now, Spike says the photo was a setup. He doesn't even remember it. Jim, this is obviously a mess, but who looks worse here, Spike or the Knicks?
The Knicks. They don't have to do this. I mean, Spike could have said what he said. The Knicks didn't really have to address it. They could address it with him personally, and it would have been done. But again, it goes back to why the Knicks have struggled over the years in regards to winning and being consistent because of management. Whoever sat there and said, we're going to pin this rebuttal, somebody had to approve
hold on.
it.
We know who said we're going to pin this on him.
But I'm saying,
and it's not management.
Well, here again, it all trickles down to everything you do. If it starts up top and management is wishy-washy and they have all this and they're dealing with petty, this is petty.
I know he shares a name with you, but can we say the name?
Dolan.
Can we put? Thank you.
This is and Scott Perry is my guy, and Steve Mills was my guy. Okay, so it's just petty to me, and I'm just done with it. I mean, when you struggle as an organization, these little things right here get in your way. New England Patriots, if they had something come up like this, it's just like stop it. You know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
The Knicks. I was there when they brawled with Charles Barkley. I'm sorry, Charles Oakley.
Right.
And I happened, I'm far up there looking down. There's a big man being wrestled to the ground, and it's Charles Oakley. And I'm wondering why. So that's just another example of what the Knicks seem, what they always do. They can't get free agents there. KD didn't even visit Brooklyn, and he still signed with the Nets.
Right.
Never talked to the Knicks about joining them. How can they get players there if they keep having these silly, stupid, moronic things happening to them? Fans know the Knicks because of Spike Lee. I think he said he spent something like $10 million. Spike, I could use some free money. If you're going to give your money away to see that product, it's horrible. And like you said, guys that are working there in their front office, how can they get their jobs done when you know at some point in time, James Dolan will stick his foot in his mouth and everywhere else?
But see, that's the problem, is that we keep saying the Knicks. The problem is not the Knicks. They've had good people there.
Yeah.
Going back, Donnie Walsh. I mean, any number of guys have been there, have done a quality job. Scott Perry and Steve Mills. Leon Rose comes in and starts talking about all the assets they gathered and the young pieces they have. I go, okay, wait a minute, who put that together? The guys that you've just demoted in some way. So, look, but I will say, Spike's not making himself look ideal either. The entire problem is with Dolan. And I only wish that Dolan would step out and not make this a tweet from the Knicks, because if you read the original tweet and their response, that sounds exactly like Jim Dolan. You know that came from Jim Dolan. Right. Why are you hiding behind the franchise? If you're going to be this pugnacious, then just come out and be that guy.
That was a good word.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can you spell that word?
But here's my struggle, is if you're going to be Spike Lee and you are going to go on national TV and you are going to tell your story, boy, you need to be buttoned up. It can't be, I don't even remember shaking his hand, or I think that photo is a setup. Like, look, the problem is all with Dolan, but if you're going to take the tactic that Spike took, then you better be on point. And there was just, when I watched the interview, and at times he would pause. Some of it might have been his delivery. He would pause, and I was like, he's trying to figure out exactly what he wants to say. It made it just a little bit shaky.
Well, I think he was real emotional, too, because of the time spent, equity, sweat equity, money, and just personal, being a Knicks fan through everything.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think that was more personal for Spike, and that's why he couldn't really put it together in a scripted format that maybe came off better. But I would say this. Let's take it a step further.
But you don't have to go on live TV.
Well,
if you're not comfortable with that, there's plenty of ways for Spike Lee to get his message out and not put himself in that situation.
Well, I would say you're correct, but sometimes emotion has a way of taking over in the moment when you're involved in, because you can tell it's a passion there with Spike when he's speaking about the Knicks. So it may come across a little bit differently. But the challenge you have, and Knicks fans have dealt with this, we know the issue is Dolan, but there's nothing you can do to remove him from his spot, okay? It took something drastic for Sterling to have to get removed, knowing NBA knew exactly what he was doing and what he wasn't doing.
Yeah.
So you can't set a precedent because Dolan is maybe not doing some things like the other franchises or organizations are doing to get him out. They're still they got rated the wealthiest or the most valuable franchise in the world, okay? Your choices are very limited on what you can do. He's heard all the negative. He's heard everything. Yeah. But the issue is you can't inch him to move and sell.
Yeah.
You just can't. So you got to hope and pray that the people that he bring in can finally, that's why I said hope and pray. Yeah. Because that's all you can really do.
I've stopped hoping and praying.
Knicks fans haven't.
And by the way, if the other owners really wanted to get him out, they could make it happen. But they look at that. But they look at that. They don't want. That's exactly why they won't. That's why they won't. But they could. It's not the fans. It's not anybody else. The other owners. Not even Adam Silver. Right. It's got to be the other owners.
I know.
But why? You know why they don't care? Because they can win, and the Knicks can keep losing.
Yeah.
We can get the great players, and you cannot. So keep acting like you act.
As big a market
Dolan,
as you are,
yes.
And everything that you have.
Keep doing that.
You're doing that fine.
And his losing doesn't impact the bottom line in the league because New York still sells out.
Right.
Okay, so it's a difference if now his losing in decision-making affected the overall revenues of the NBA. Then the owners can say, you know what? Now we have a reason why we need to have this discussion. But the Knicks are not in that boat.
All right, to a guy having a great season, Luka Doncic, who has been lighting it up in his second year in the league, so much so that teammate Seth Curry says Doncic reminds him of LeBron because of his size, ball handling, and playmaking ability. When you look at Luka's second year compared to LeBron's, Luka's averaging more points, rebounds, and assists, though LeBron actually shot better from the field and from three. So, Jim, is it too early to compare Luka to LeBron?
No, it's not. The intangible parts. Okay, the athleticism is going to always skew towards LeBron's, but the ability to have the maturity part of it is one I think you can compare. The playmaking ability, the ability for him to get his shot off. He's a better shooter at this point than LeBron was, at a young age. But I think the intangibles that you vision and you see with Luka, why he's such a great young player, are very comparable to LeBron in regards to his overall game.
But the numbers say that actually, and I was surprised by this, LeBron is actually shooting better than Luka
Well, yeah. You know, but he
right
doesn't
now.
shoot as many jump shots as Luka does. Okay, LeBron did
percentage-wise.
Percentage-wise.
But his three-point shooting was slightly better too.
But look at the numbers though, because I can be a better three-point shooter if I shoot less.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Luka's going to shoot
Luka's
more.
shooting more
It's just like
threes.
Steph Curry is a better three-point shooter than his brother. You know why? Right. He doesn't shoot as many.
Right.
So his percentages are better.
Fair.
If I'm Seth Curry, guess what I say? The exact same thing. You know why? I want the ball to keep coming my way. But in my opinion, I'm going to say no. I'm saying no because do we really expect him to get the Mavericks to 8 straight NBA Finals?
But that's not what he's saying.
I know he's not saying that, but
we just talked about this.
But we're trying to.
But I'm saying
Brady.
I'm saying the intangible parts of his game. I'm not saying that.
I know, but you're getting into how the question is structured,
right?
And the only thing people hear
that's
is
just me.
Luka, LeBron,
right.
And now the comparisons.
But that's why I tried to clarify why I agree with that.
Well, you're an intelligent man.
You are an intelligent man. I think Luka is his own player. There's not someone I really want to compare him to. How about, let's say Larry Bird then?
Right.
Let's try that.
Right.
Let's just try someone like Scottie Pippen, someone who had the ball a lot and did quite a few things. Let's just say he's like Michael Jordan then. Let's say he's like Jim Jackson.
He's way better than me.
Well, not way, but better. Okay, I'll give you that.
But here's the thing. The comparison really for me is you've got two guys who are point forwards, who are big ball handling, playmaking guys. End of comparison. Because at this stage, as you mentioned, the athleticism is very different. How Luka makes plays is different. And so I don't want to put him on that track of the LeBron comparison now, because I'm not sure where Luka goes from here. The body and his ability to continue to expand his game, I was surprised that he didn't have a little bit of a flat start to his second year, because I thought people would kind of figure out a little bit what he does, because a lot of what he does is he fools you. He's clever. And I thought maybe they'd understand it and they'd make him play. And they do it. Defensively, they go at him. And offensively, they try to wear him down. They try to take advantage that he doesn't have the same physical abilities as LeBron does.
But he has the mental abilities to understand how to adjust his game.
And that's where he's gone as he's expanded. But he has that, and he's needed that to have comparable numbers to LeBron. He's needed to play a completely different game than LeBron did when he first got here.
One thing he does not do, he does not play any defense. Any. I-N-Y. Any defense. Okay?
All right.
I-N-Y.
LeVar Arrington is back with us. Time now for Darnell's question of the day. Take it away, Darnell.
Yes, sir. Let's move to boxing, where we saw Deontay Wilder take a beating from Tyson Fury a couple weeks ago. But Wilder didn't waste any time accepting his option for a third fight against Fury. And now Floyd Money Mayweather is trying to get involved, saying Wilder can beat Fury if he lets Floyd train him and teach him how to win. So what I want to know is, do you guys think Tyson Fury should be worried about this idea?
For me, it's too little too late. If he was going to become a technical boxer, he would have invested in that a long time ago and not waited 4.5 months. I also question, this is Floyd saying he'd like to help him. It's not Deontay saying, hey, I'd like to get together with Floyd and get this done. Because what I've heard, and we've talked about this, Deontay's feeling is that, no, it was just the suit that I wore into the ring. That was my only problem. And I'm not buying that. Fury won 18 of the 19 rounds. I want to see this fight. I'm still interested, captivated, want to know if he can change the dynamic, but I don't know that Floyd Mayweather is going to be the difference maker.
Yeah, and what technically, from a perspective, can you change? I mean, maybe Wilder on balance a lot more, not trying to technically go for the one punch to win the fight, because I think he lost this fight when Fury went down in the first fight and got back up. And knowing that he hit him with everything, so mentally he was trying to get Fury out so quickly, because the longer the fight would go on, the more it would skew towards Fury. So Mark Breland is excellent in regards to a corner man, somebody, a trainer that understands it. I know he's upset that he threw the towel, but you're talking about an experienced fighter that had been there, that saw the trouble happening,
right,
okay, when it was going on. So I think it's more so in Deontay Wilder's head, like, can I really beat this man? And why would Tyson Fury, everything that Tyson Fury has been through, the salvation is the boxing ring. This is nothing to him right now. You can't throw anything at Fury that he hasn't already put on himself and actually overcome. I don't think would be worried whatsoever if this happened.
So I disagree. I think he should be concerned. And the reason why he should be concerned, Darnell, is because Floyd Mayweather, for one, is throwing his hat in the ring to want to train him. Antonio Tarver, we saw him in the casino after the fight, and he's made it known that he wants to train him. Those are two champions. None with a bigger ego than one Money Floyd Mayweather Jr. If he wants to train him and he wants to take on the responsibility of training him, that is an extension of his no-loss record as a fighter in the ring. So if he can, for certain, if he can train Deontay in the art of taking the approach of how he wants him to take the approach into the fight, and he's confident enough to put it out there where it's being consumed, that means he sees something there that he can help Deontay with that could possibly be the difference in what would be the biggest fight from the last fight. There was an embarrassment that took place.
Yeah,
there was an embarrassment that took place.
True.
And we're saying we're wondering if he could win the fight. He literally, Darnell, you sit there and say he got counted out.
I thought it was 10 seconds, but hey, that's
a lot of people thought that one punch that struck, that he won the fight. So to me, I don't think Deontay is so concerned about can I beat him? I can't beat him. I think it's what approach do I take that gives me the best opportunity to win
but
this
the only pushback I would have is that I would look at this as a loss. If Deontay loses this fight, if Mayweather trains him and Deontay loses the fight,
his career's over.
Yeah, but I'm not putting that on Mayweather. I'm not saying that Floyd failed, because you're also talking about a completely different type of boxer.
You know who's putting it on Floyd? Floyd. And that's what you got to look at. It's an ego-driven sport.
He didn't make a guarantee. He just said, I'd like to train him. He didn't say, no. If Floyd putting himself on it is to say, you know what, if I get a chance to train Deontay Wilder, he will beat Tyson Fury. Now it's on Floyd Mayweather. As of now, he's just saying, hey, I'd like to train him. I might be able to help him out.
You don't put your hat in the ring.
But here's the thing, though. But if it's an ego-driven sport, this is a champion that has won, that has proclaimed that he's the best that has done it at the heavyweight division. Why would he want that part of it in regards to maybe switching up some techniques, some things that he's already accomplished something before?
Tell you.
Because he already believed, based on this, the only reason why he lost, it wasn't technique-wise. It wasn't anything else. It was his uniform and his legs wasn't there. So why does he need to change it?
Whitlock called it out in Vegas. He said that heavyweights move the boxing industry.
Exactly.
If Floyd Mayweather Jr. trains Deontay Wilder to a win over Tyson Fury, imagine how big the payday will be for the next rematch fight that takes place. You're smart, Floyd.
Hey,
and Deontay, take him up on his offer.
That wasn't the question, though.
Come on.
That was not the question.
I'm going to stop this fight.
That wasn't the question.
Let's move to Baltimore, where Lamar Jackson electrified the league and won the MVP award this year, but came up short in the playoffs and doesn't seem to understand why. Lamar says he's still puzzled by the loss, insisting that the Ravens had a good approach and played well, despite getting dominated for most of the game and losing by double digits to the Titans. LeVar, do these comments change your view of Lamar?
It absolutely does change my view of Lamar. I think even more highly of the young man now. I think that this is a smart, strategic way to answer. I think it's a candid moment to say, I don't know why we didn't win, because he probably felt as well as they were playing, they would have success against any team that they play and possibly go win the Super Bowl. But with that being said, you're not going to tell the media and tell the public why we lost. Here's why we lost, Rick. Let me tell you. The Tennessee Titans did this. I don't think it's disingenuous. I think that he was genuinely puzzled by the fact that they lost. But that does not mean that he has to go any further than telling you, I can't understand why we lost, when in reality, if he did know why they lost and they looked at the film, I'm not going to tell the media this is what we did, because now everybody's going to be like, oh, I can base what we're doing off of what Lamar just said in this interview. So I think it's smart. It's not disingenuous. That's using wisdom.
I like the way that he's somewhat owning up to the team obviously struggling in the playoffs, but this does not change my view of him in any sense because I was never a believer in the Ravens to begin with.
Oh, wow.
Simply, I'll go ahead and tell you.
That means you weren't a believer in Lamar Jackson.
I was not a believer in the way that offense was putting up points and would they be able to continue that in the playoffs.
Ooh, wow.
And it's simply because this is why. Kind of like what you said on the first segment. Going to the playoffs, performing in the playoffs is something that's a daunting task. And you look back at last year when they played the Los Angeles Chargers in the playoffs. Obviously, they lost that game. Lamar didn't play well. And because of how this team is so predicated on the run game, predicated on the read option, and that allowing the tight ends, that trio of tight ends that they have, being able to run free downfield opens up so much for the offense. Well, I knew that if the Baltimore Ravens run into a team that can stop the run and force Lamar to play more from the pocket, I knew that they probably would have a dud of a game in the playoffs. I didn't think it would be the Tennessee Titans, but I'm not surprised that you saw that type of a game out of that offense in the playoffs because the test of time will always be the accurate pocket passer quarterbacks. That's something that's going to always be. So that did not completely surprise me, and I wasn't shocked at all.
Right. I don't see it changed my view. I think it enhanced it in this perspective that he wants to get better because he kind of answered his own question within this statement. He said, I don't know how we lost, but if you go down a little bit further, we were flat the whole night. The game was not on our defense. I felt like we didn't execute on offense. We put up points. If we put up more points, it would have been a great game. So he kind of told you we had the game plan in place, but it wasn't our defense. It was our offense. And down here he says further about how he wants to improve.
Their defense got tore out the frame, but that's fine.
But I'm just saying.
Tore out the frame.
But he kind of gave you the answers within his statement.
Them wasn't the answers.
I know.
Them wasn't the answers.
But I know.
But I hear what you're saying.
But I think for Lamar, it's all a learning experience. Again, young quarterbacks going through the fire. We want them to succeed right away without getting that hurt, without getting that pain of disappointment. And the only way you grow from that is to have to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know what, I didn't perform up to expectations.
And that's true.
That's something that young quarterbacks have to go through. And right now, we're going to see exactly how much he's grown from this next year and how much more I think the Ravens offense trusts in him with the play calling next year.
His admission that he needs to get better at everything and his desire to do that and his commitment to do that, all of that I like. But if he is being disingenuous, if he didn't say I was puzzled, he says I'm still puzzled as to why we lost. So if he knows and he's just not talking about it, then that's different than what this says, which is, I still am not quite sure why we lost. And if that's the case, that sounds naive and young, and it does shift my view of him because I thought the way he handled himself throughout the year was so mature in how he handled the media. There was never any uncertainty about what he was saying and how he was saying it. And to say I'm still puzzled, I'm thinking, dude, you've been able to watch tape. You should know, and that's what you should be working on to make
Rick,
this different.
Listen to what you just said. I'm still puzzled as to how we lost that game, even after he's had all this time to watch the tape. So it's not in the literal sense of what you're saying, the meaning of what you're saying. He's saying, I'm looking at the tape.
Right.
I know how good we are as a team.
Right.
I am still puzzled as to how we would lose this game.
Okay, but at this point, shouldn't you know this is how we lost the game and this is what we need to do different next year, or this is how we need to adjust our team?
The answer is most certainly yes.
Okay.
But it's not disingenuous because he's looking at the moment right then and there of that game, and he's saying, I just don't know how we lost this. I still just don't know how. I've been in games where I knew how we lost the game, but in my mind,
you're more stunned.
It's a stunned moment. It's a stunned moment.
I think we have
a little sympathy, Rick.
I think we have a different interpretation of the timeline on puzzled. All right.
Golly, I don't want to be your son, Rick.
You'll never get away with it.
You lost the game, LeVar.
Everything will be literal. Everything.
You go work, do push-ups.
Put it on it.
I don't like the excuses.
You've been in my house.
Oh my gosh.
I'm actually,
Okay.
So here's the other question though. Will the league, and now that he's going to have an opportunity to change, the league's going to have an opportunity to study Lamar, Are they going to figure him out next season?
Well, I think the onus is on the offense to continue to expand his game so you don't get into that pocket, okay, in regards to that. I think the New England Patriots did an excellent job. Everybody knew exactly what you're going to do, but just little intricate details in the offense made it tougher for you to stop New England. Even though you knew what was going on, you still can do. I think.
But this comes back to Lamar. This comes to figuring out Lamar.
But it goes back to the offensive coordinator, how they groom and grow him.
Agree.
Can they evolve his game along schematically with the offense?
But you're jumping ahead because the question for me is, can Lamar evolve? Have you seen enough of him from this year where you say, we can play a different way and be successful with it?
I think it's going to be incumbent upon him to evolve if this team is going to continue to have the success that they had last year.
So you're saying the defense is going to catch up there?
Right. So they can't play the same way.
Is the league going to catch up to this? Hell yes, they're going to catch up to this. Because we see what happened with San Francisco when they had Colin Kaepernick in 2012, 2013. Guess what? 14, 15 comes around, 16 he gets benched.
Yeah.
We see 2015, Cam Newton, Carolina Panthers. They go to the Super Bowl. Guess what? The league caught up to that. Now,
Baker Mayfield.
Exactly. So, but like I said earlier, the one thing that this league does not catch up to is being that accurate, precise pocket guy.
But he can throw.
Hold on. I know that. I'm not saying Lamar can't throw. I'm saying I'm talking about evolving to being that upper echelon elite type of passer. Because let's go ahead and look right now. You see the top guys in this league. You still got Big Ben up there. You still got Breeze. Those guys were drafted in what, 03, 02, 01, 04, something like that. You look at Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson. You look at all those guys, and they still are the old heads in the league, but they're still up there. You look at who won the Super Bowl this past year. Pat Mahomes. Yes, Pat Mahomes can elude the pass rush. Yes, he's athletic.
And his legs was what kept those winning drives alive.
But Pat Mahomes is still what?
A thrower.
What is his superpower? He is very accurate. He has a rifle for an arm. We look at last year's Super Bowl. Who won that? Tom Brady. The one before that, we see Nick Foles.
Super quickly, because we got to go to break. Super quickly, they are not going to catch up to Lamar. You didn't mention Mike Vick and all the names that you mentioned. They will not catch up to Lamar next year. A master does something 5 times, or does 5 things 5,000 times. The person that does 5,000 things 5 times is not trying to be a master. They're trying to be a jack of all trades. If they continue to master what Lamar Jackson does well and continue to build around their run and keep the balance of their pass, Lamar Jackson and the evolution will be fine. The Purple Rain deal will take place in Baltimore, and it will be televised. Y'all better leave Lamar Jackson.
5,000 masters. I'm still trying to. I'm
still trying to. A master
that.
does 5 things 5,000 times, while a jack of all trades will try to do 5,000 things 5 times. Y'all sit and think of that. Think about that while we go to break.
Oh, my God.
Because I might be too deep. I might have been over your head.
Aristotle.
LA Times NBA writer Brad Turner is back. Let's return to the association where Trae Young took a shot after trying to nutmeg Trevor Ariza earlier this week. But even that forearm isn't going to slow Young down. The Hawk star says he doesn't do the move to showboat, but to get an advantage, and tweeted, quote, "Been in my game my whole life. Why stop now? Just close your legs." Jim, do you like Trae doubling down here?
No, I like the confidence he has because, in today's world, you don't worry about that because the young guys are young guys, and I said it before. With a veteran player like Trevor Ariza, some things are not going to go by, but you're not going to run into that a lot in the league. So you're going to be able to get away with it. You're going to be able to do some stuff that would be considered showboating. To him, it's in part of his game. So do I like him doubling down? Yeah, go ahead. Because in the league today, you don't have to worry about it unless you run into a wily veteran like Ariza that's not going to go for it.
If you were playing, would you like him doubling down?
If I was, go ahead. I said, go ahead and do it because if you try it on me, I'm going to give you a shoulder. I'm going to take the foul. So you can double down all you want. But if you try it on me as a veteran, I'm going to let you know that I don't appreciate it.
Right.
That's just me.
Okay. But so he's doubling down. If you were in the position to come back at him, you wouldn't be taking it. So it sounds to me like
what do you mean?
Can double down all you want, but I wouldn't take it if I was playing against
No,
you.
I wouldn't. It's just like this. It's like, I know Lloyd Pierce said, this is part of his game. He does it.
Right.
I guarantee if Lloyd was on the other side, on the other bench, he wouldn't have that same attitude because he's not his player. So he's supposed to support his player. Trae is supposed to, okay, this is what I do. But as an opposing player who's older, I look at it totally different. If I was still playing, totally different.
It's entertainment. And let's not forget.
You're okay with it?
They get about, 2,000 fans a game there?
Fans dressed up like
Right?
seats, man.
So if you're not getting anyone in the arena, why not do that? I mean, he's entertaining his fans. To be serious, what's wrong with doing that? And what's wrong with Trevor Ariza doing what he did? Letting the young guy know, if you do it to me, you're going to get this.
I'll tell you what's wrong with it. One, it's the fact that he's saying, no, I'm not showboating. The hell you're not showboating. You're showboating. This is an and one move, okay? Half the time that he does it, if you do it and that's the only way I can get this advantage. If I'm trapped in the corner, I can get out of this and I'm going to put it through your legs. And that's a different situation. And every player knows it.
Oh, yeah, players know it. Players know it.
Exactly. Where he did it to Trevor Ariza, Ariza's like, no, I'm not playing that.
But Rick,
you could have gone around me. You didn't have to embarrass me.
is he the first player to do this?
Do it consistently.
I've seen
See,
Chris Paul do it a few times.
Hold up. Consistent. This is a move that's in his stuff all the time.
So it's in his game.
Right.
But
so why is he going to stop doing that if it gives him the advantage? He's not trying to clown the guy, I don't think.
Here's the difference. Chris Paul does it, and he is looking to clown you. And he's looking at you going, I'm going to put it through your legs, and I'm going to go by you. And in some ways, I would say Chris Paul at this stage has to do that in certain situations to get his shot. But it's a matter of for me, Trae saying, this is just entertainment. Trevor, you're taking this all too seriously. You said it yourself. Dude, I am taking this seriously because I'm playing. If you were playing, you take it seriously, you're not going to.
But it goes back to the
this.
question. Like Trae Young doubling down. I don't care. He can double because that's in his game. As a player who's a little bit older and thinks differently, I wouldn't like it. Okay? I don't mind him doubling down. That's you. That's part of your game. It's like a guy that always comes down and he wants to trick a guy, fake behind the back pass. But listen, it's part of his game. That's fine. Again, I'm saying from my perspective that I'm not going to allow you to do it to me. I'm going to take that foul.
Okay, so here's the thing. So if Trae Young starts getting clipped every time he does it, and he starts complaining, or the Hawks start to complain, whose side are you on?
I'm on the player side.
So you're saying, hey, Trae, you're getting what you got coming to you.
What? From a player perspective, when you talk about individual players who look at it like, dog, you're not doing that to me. You're not going to continue to go through my legs. I'm not going to allow that to happen. From a player's perspective, yes.
Am I going to get a Brad Turner column that says these old guys need to come up with the new generation and accept that they play the game? Or are you going to
I'm going to accept somebody throwing the ball through my legs? I don't care if you're young or old. You're going to accept somebody clowning you and just throwing it through your legs? No.
So you are saying that he's clowning people.
I am, as a player.
But how about this? When James Harden does the step back three and the guy fumbles and falls down and he stares you down, you think guys like that?
No.
I've seen that happen many a time. So the idea is stop the guy. Don't let him score on you. Don't let him clown you. How about doing that? Play some damn defense.
And my defense, that shoulder.
All right, to a guy, I hear that, who makes a living off of showboating, LeVar Ball. The infamous sports dad is about to see his youngest son, LaMelo, enter the NBA draft and naturally has an opinion about where he should play, saying on Undisputed yesterday that the Knicks are the best fit for LaMelo, who LeVar says loves the lights and the big city. Jim, do you agree with LeVar that LaMelo and the Knicks are a good fit?
No, because there's still dysfunction there. And the last thing.
Oh, so you're putting this on the Knicks?
No, I'm saying it is still dysfunction with the Knicks. I think for LaMelo and what's going on and what comes with being a part of the Ball family, I think it does have to be some structure there, an identity in regards to what's going to happen. Because the expectation level of what maybe LeVar may have for LaMelo going there may conflict with what's going on with the Knicks and their dysfunction. And that just causes more chaos. And the last thing you want, again, because it goes back to this young man, forget his father, you want the best for LaMelo to be able to succeed. For me, put him in a good situation where he's able to expand on his talents and what his God-given ability are. Now, you can't control everything in NBA, don't get me wrong. But you're asking me this specific question on the Knicks, and I'm going to say no.
You know, I agree. It's not a good environment. And do you want a young man that's going to be the face of your franchise, not knowing how he can fit into that role, knowing that his dad will speak out as well? Can he really play in a city like New York City? I mean, I saw the dad say that he came from a big city. Chino Hills is not a big city.
Right.
Let's be positive about that.
Right.
And first off, do the Knicks really want him? Who's going to be the head coach?
Yeah.
Who's going to make that decision?
They already got R.J. Barrett. They already got
They do. And
a host of
will
guards,
Jim
point guards.
Dolan stay out the way?
Well.
So here's the deal.
Okay.
I from a competitive standpoint, from a technical standpoint, agree with you 1,000%. This is a bad marriage. LeVar Ball and Jim Dolan. And I'm not even LeVar Ball talking about how he wants his sons to become billionaires. We're going to go right past millionaires and become billionaires. And that's why you want to go to the big city, because you want to exploit what the big city can. All of that is the wrong focus. I don't need that to be coming from anyone going to LaMelo and how you're going to approach your professional career. However, from an entertainment standpoint, please give me LeVar Ball and Jim Dolan. Please make this happen, because can you imagine what would go back and forth? Oh, it would be sensational.
Wait a minute. He don't want Trae Young to entertain, but he wants.
But you know what? It wouldn't be anything about basketball. It'd be all about those two, right? So that's what you say. So you wanted to kind of take the attention away from the basketball, lack thereof.
How much basketball have we been seeing?
I know, but that's what you're saying. You want the entertainment value and not the basketball value of what he may be able to add.
At this point, I want to be entertained.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, because it's a matter of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
I've lost hope that Dolan is going to stay out of the way long enough to allow the basketball people to create a desirable product. So if I'm not going to get that, give me the freaking circus. Why not? All right.
It's already a circus.
Yeah. Well,
Big Ten.
let's expand on that. Uncle Jimmy is off today. Let's talk LeBron James, who had a ton of praise for his teammate Anthony Davis after AD had a monster game in a win over Philly last night. LeBron said AD is doing exactly what he expected and pretty much took credit for bringing him to the Lakers. Jim, what's your approval rating for LeBron?
Oh, come on, man. This is easy for me. I know you're a little bit different. I'm going to get through mine so you can go to yours. But job, performance, 23. And I say 23 because free throw shooting is still a problem with me. All-time great, 25. Character, 25. Now, here's authenticity because he can be, passive-aggressive, 18, 91 total. GOAT status, of course, easy.
I hear you on the free throw. Maybe that's why I only took 1.2 points. That's a little bit. Look, all-time greatness, I'm going to go 24. I like 24s across the board.
Except?
Until we get to authenticity. And you hear me because you went 18. It was your lowest score, too. I'm just going 9 because he'll say whatever he needs to say whenever he needs to say it.
At least give him double digits.
Look,
give him double digits.
He's still a GOAT. By the way,
man.
our Twitter ratings, you guys say that he's a GOAT, too, but not as many who say Tom Brady is. All right, that's it for us.
Man.
Thanks for joining us.